It's going to be a critical week for General Michael Flynn. I tweeted this out yesterday. Breaking news. My sources tell me that he will be completely exonerated this week. Here's what Ranking Intel Committee member Devin Nunes said yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures about this. And then I want to get your take on the news behind Michael Flynn. Watch this. I know this upcoming week is going to be an important one for General Michael Flynn. What can you tell us?
In that FISA report, we need everything declassified so that we can continue this investigation. Why is General Flynn important? Because on Friday night, thankfully, Attorney General Barr has appointed a U.S. attorney out of Missouri to look into, what was going on in some of these investigations. And now we don't know what was submitted to the court on Friday evening. But we believe that it's possibly exculpatory evidence that the government had on General Flynn.
But what I do know, Congressman, is that those documents are exculpatory evidence. They were not shown to the court initially, and basically what they say are they are notes about Michael Flynn's meeting at the White House with the FBI, that it was a complete setup and that he never lied. It's all in Mr. Baker's notes. That's the exculpatory evidence. Do you believe that Michael Flynn will be exonerated this week? What do you know about this?
Well, this goes back to something you and I have been talking about for a long, long time, and it's about time that some of this comes out. And this is why when people hear us talk about the FISA court, when they hear us talk about the corrupt cabal of Comey, Strzok, Page, McCabe, all of them in that situation, they're understanding why this is important. That Brady evidence, that exculpatory evidence, is things that prosecutors must turn over. And what we found here is that when you take Carter Page, Papadopoulos, now Flynn, and you start looking at this and putting the case together. Sidney Powell, the new attorney for General Flynn, has done a great job of pointing out the problems that we have seen. And what makes me think that this is even more important for maybe a possible dismissal or a major movement in this case is that when you're dealing with ineffective counsel assistance, which was his first attorneys, and that is being looked into, and I even saw a report that they're actually looking at possibly interviewing those previous attorneys. That tells me that this case is moving forward, and U.S. Attorney Jensen, who has been appointed to look at this, is going to have plenty of evidence and plenty of ways to look and see if there was a problem with the interview. Remember, Strzok did this. Peter Strzok did this interview. This was a time in which Comey knew that he had free reign because it was in the early stages of the transition, the president coming into office. This is nothing more than an unveiling and unpeeling that we've talked about, you and I have talked about many times before, of a corrupt cabal wanting to get candidate Trump and then President Trump. This is nothing more than confirmation of what we've seen before.
That's right. And we will see when this plays out. I understand it will play out this week, but the exculpatory evidence showing that it was, in fact, a trick to get him. Jim Comey has spoken about this before, right, Congressman? Remember when Jim Comey was out on his book tour and he said something like, well, we knew that it was a chaotic administration and any other administration, it wouldn't fly. But with this, we just said, hey, Mike, we want to talk to you. Don't bring a lawyer. We'll send a couple of agents down there just to chat you up. And that's exactly what they did and cornered him. And then later, some of them said, no, I don't think he lied. But in fact, that's what they charged him with. You made a really good point to me when we spoke about this earlier. They initially charged him with collusion, colluding with the Russians. Yes. And yet they ended up bringing charges about him lying. So there was no collusion in the charge.
No, in fact, this is what the media and all the pundits who want to tie this administration to Russia, which, by the way, has been found false at every level. This president did nothing wrong. And then Flynn here, look, I'm so sick of Jim Comey and Captain America here. There's so many cracks in his shield, and he goes around, maybe he'll go point and do another tweet about trees because he has so misled the American people about what it is to be a prosecutor, what it is to be an FBI agent. Because when you look at this, when you look at what's happening, people need to be concerned that here was a man who was in charge who could destroy people's lives. And he said, let's use the chaos to find something we don't like about this president. And again, you're right. They did not charge him with colluding with Russia. They charged him with lying to the FBI, who came in, it seems to be now, under a false pretense to get something on him. This is just disturbing. When you talk about the FISA court reissuance, when you talk about the issue of how they were using, not turning over exculpatory evidence, every citizen in the United States right now could be concerned that at one point when you had Comey and McCabe and Strzok and Page and all of them running it, that we had a rogue group that was out on their own to take down a candidate and then to take down a president. This has been very disturbing. And the more it's revealed, it's just sad for where we're at. But it's also important for us to not give up the fight for the FISA court. When we reauthorize it, it has to have changes to it. It cannot just be rubber stamped to continue to do what it's doing, because these investigations show that there was a lot of problems. And General Flynn this week, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this, because this is important stuff. This is things that are basic 101 for prosecutors. Yeah. And what Comey and Strut and them did is just bad.
Yeah, it's just extraordinary. We'll see if this begins a domino effect where we actually will see the cabal of individuals who tried to stage a coup, that they will face accountability and justice. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much.
Great to be with you. Take care.